Dear students, myself Monisha Rusha, Assistant Professor, Department of Philosophy, Durham College, Tezpur. Today, I am going to explain the ethical theory of Kant. This topic is for BA third semester, both honors and generic students. Immanuel Kant was a great philosopher. He was a critical thinker. In the history of philosophy of ethics, Kant's moral doctrine is known as rationalism because this theory emphasizes the suppression of sense instincts or feelings and the conduct of moral life with judgment or reason. According to him, although humans are intelligent creatures, an analysis of human nature reveals two types of instincts. One is animality and the other is rationality. The living instinct is the lower instinct and the intellectual instinct is the higher. But because they have a biology, people sometimes behave like animals. But man is superior to other animals in intelligence. According to Kant, the moral world of man is the battlefield of these two professions, where there is a constant conflict between them. Instinct seeks to suppress intelligence, and intelligence similarly seeks to suppress instinct. So, Kant said that man should defeat his sense instincts or biological instincts and give the highest place to reason. Kant's ethics is also known as deontological ethics. Now I think you have a question in mind that what is deontological ethics? Deontological ethics is the opposite of teleological ethics. Deontological ethics means an action or policy is good or proper if it is self-worth or self-evident. That means an action is good in its own right. Its goodness does not depend on higher non-moral value. Kant mainly explained his ethical theory with the help of three sentences. Goodwill alone is good, duty for duty's sake, and moral law is a categorical imperative. Now I will explain these 3 points one by one. The first one is goodwill alone is good. According to Kant, a will that is based solely on a sense of duty without aspiration is called goodwill. In other words, goodwill is based on a consciousness of pure duty. That means goodwill is a desire motivated by a pure consciousness of duty. Kant said that there is nothing in the world or even out of it that can be called good without qualification except a goodwill. According to him, goodwill is good or honest only everywhere and always in itself, and its goodness does not depend on the country, time, circumstances, and the consequences produced by it. Goodwill, unconditionally honest or good in every environment or under any circumstances. The attributive characteristic of goodwill do not change with changes in the environment. Kant therefore regards goodwill as self-valuable or supreme welfare. Generally, here is a question raised that except goodwill, is there really no other good things? By answering it, Kant says that there are many other things in the world that we consider good besides goodwill. For example, knowledge, talent, patience, courage, self-control, happiness, wealth, health, fame, etc. Kant acknowledges the importance of all these in human life and accepts them as auspicious or honest under certain circumstances. But according to Kant, unlike goodwill, they are not axiomatically good. Their goodness depends on country, time, circumstances, and their consequences. In other words, all of these is good or honest only in a limited way. These can also be used for evil purposes. For example, health, courage, strength, knowledge, etc. is limited and relative, and that everything except goodwill is good or righteous as long as it is not used against moral laws and motivated by evil intention. Or we can say that the goodness of all of these depends on goodwill. Health, courage, strength, knowledge, etc. will be auspicious or honest if and only if they are accompanied by goodwill. Therefore, Kant said that only goodwill is self-evident and unconditionally honest. Now I come to the second point. The second point is duty for duty's sake. It means we should do our duty for the sake of duty, not for the sake of any fruit. According to Kant, the performance of duty is only for the sake of duty. People should not act on childish feelings. One should act without thinking of the fruits of one's action or any particular purpose, without any emotional arousal, only with regard to moral values. Only this kind of action is called duty for duty's sake. According to Kant, moral action is the performance of duty for duty only, purified of goodwill by controlling all kinds of feelings and emotions. Kant's this ethical point is very similar with Gita's ethics. In Gita, it was said that our dharma is our karma. If one can perform their duty honestly, then it means he and she performs their dharmas. But this karma is niskama karma, means without a desireness of fruit. In Gita, it was said that if men can perform their duties very honestly, then their results will be automatically good without the thinking of it. Now I come to the third and last point. This point is moral law is a categorical imperative. This is the most important conviction of Kant's moral philosophy. According to Kant, conscience, the moral rule that our practical judgment tells us, is the categorical imperative. Simply, we can say that it is the command of conscience. This is an unconditional command that emanates from our practical judgment or wisdom. Unconditional command is an individual neutral principle according to which every restrained-minded person should act regardless of the consequences of his actions. We have an obligation to follow the moral laws that conscience speaks to. There are no conditions for obedience to this moral law or unconditional command. Ethical rules are observable solely motivated by a sense of duty, not as a means to an end. Kant mentioned three maxims of categorical imperative. The first one is act only on that maxim which tokens at the same time will to be a universal law. It means act only in such a way as you can will that everyone should act under the same general conditions. According to the unconditional command, every man should act only according to the rules he can desire as universal law. The second maxim is act to treat humanity, whether in thine own person or in that of any other, always as an end, never as a means. The significance of this maxim is that man is an intelligent being. As an intelligent being, man himself is his own goal or objective. Therefore, man should not be used as a means of achieving any other goal. This formula respects the personality of every human being, and actions that are considered to be a means of achieving goals or objectives cannot be considered moral actions. The third maxim is act as a member of a kingdom of ants. Here, Kant, ideal state refers to an ideal society of rational people. This maxim says that every person belongs to everyone as a member of an ideal society. There is personality and dignity. Therefore, everyone's self-dignity should be respected. As members of an ideal society, our job is to be entrepreneurial for self-development and to cooperate fully with others' self-development. So, these three maxims are in Kant's words an unconditional command that we must obey. These maxims are universal. As members of an ideal society, it is our moral duty to observe these three proverbs for the sake of duty, motivated by goodwill and unselfishly. That's all for today. Thank you.